This is PSN Newsrun, streaming exclusively on YouTube.
Welcome to PSN Newsrun. Here are the top stories. Federal government halts creation of new tertiary institutions to concentrate on existing schools. Meanwhile, Canadian court brands APC and PDP as terrorist groups. And on sports, PSN celebrates Nigeria's football legend JJ Okocha on his birthday. Join us for details of these stories and more. Federal government hits the brakes on creation of new federal universities, polytechnics or colleges for 7 years. Why government says this is necessary and how it could reshape higher education, these are the questions Marianne analyzed in this report.
The federal government is putting brakes on new universities for the next 7 years. At a Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu, the government approved a moratorium on creating new federal universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. This means no brand new campuses. Instead, the focus shifts to fixing and funding schools we already have, which are 26 federal universities, 41 polytechnics, and 27 colleges of education. Education Minister Dr. Maruf Alausa says too many institutions are struggling with overcrowded lecture halls, outdated facilities, to shortages of qualified lecturers. Spreading funds to more schools, he says, will make things even worse. This freeze is also meant to curb the political habit of announcing flourishing new universities during campaigns without money or plans to run them. The idea is to stop expansion for expansion's sake and push real quality in the system. For students and lecturers, it could mean better funding, better infrastructures, and better learning conditions if the government delivers. But the real test will come over the next 7 years. Marianne Awia, PS News.
The federal government is set to refinance 4 trillion naira in electricity debt. The government says it will fix the power sector. But what does this mean for Nigerians? Once again, Marianne takes us deep into this report.
The federal government is making big moves to clear the air in the Nigerian power sector. President Bola Tinubu has approved 4 trillion, that's $2.61 billion, refinancing plan to settle years of unpaid electricity debts. These debts built up between 2015 to 2023 have been choking the sector and slowing down reforms. Finance Minister Olawale Edun says the repayment will happen over the next 3 to 4 weeks using bonds and other financial tools. It's part of a bigger reform push, cutting subsidy, adjusting urban tariff, and freeing up cash. The government says the change could save Nigerians about 1.1 trillion naira or $719 million every year. For customers, the hope is clear: better service, more reliable supply, and fewer blackouts. But with tariffs on the rise, households and businesses may still feel pinched before they see the gain. The Tinubu's administration says this is about resetting the power sector for a long haul. Now, Nigerians will be watching to see if the lights truly stay on. Marianne Awia, PS News.
Washington gives the nod for a $346 million arms deal with Nigeria. What's in the package, why it's happening now, and the big question of accountability. Let's hear Tez's analysis on this report.
The United States is stepping in to help Nigeria tackle its worsening security crisis. The U.S. State Department has approved a massive $346 million weapons deal, but it still needs the green light from Congress. The package consists munitions, bombs, and rockets, all designed to give Nigeria's military a sharper edge in the fight against insurgents. This comes as Boko Haram's reign of terror continues in the northeast. The United Nations says more than 35,000 lives have been lost and over 2 million people forced from their homes since the conflict began. Analysts call this a sign that Washington sees Nigeria as a key security partner in West Africa, but there are concerns. Human rights groups are warning about past civilian casualties linked to military operations and say new weapons must come with strict oversight. If Congress approves, the Nigerian armed forces could soon have a fresh arsenal. The hope: to push back the insurgents. The challenge: making sure firepower translates into lasting peace. Teza Phillips, PS News.
Meanwhile, on a celebratory note, 2 young Nigerians are building 30,000 drones a year in Abuja, exporting across Africa, and just beat Israel to a $1.2 million security contract. Joycelyn is here with details.
2 young Nigerians are putting the country on the global tech map. From a workshop in Abuja, they're producing an incredible 30,000 drones every year. These aren't just for local use. They are exported to more than 8 African countries, from Ghana to South Africa. And their latest win is beating an Israeli consortium to land a $1.2 million security contract deal that proves African innovation can compete and win on the global world stage. Their drones are used for everything from border patrol and surveillance to agricultural mapping and disaster response. Analysts say this is a shining example of how homegrown technology can create jobs, boost export, and reduce dependence on foreign imports. In a country where tech talent is often lost to brain drain, these entrepreneurs are showing what's possible when skills, innovation, and investment meet. It's a reminder that Nigeria's future may not just be in oil, but in high-flying ideas. From Abuja to Africa and beyond, Nigeria's drone industry is taking off. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
Nigeria's 2 biggest political parties, APC and PDP, has been branded as terrorist groups by Canada's courtroom. Joycelyn takes us into why this ruling happened and the shockwaves it could send through our political realm.
A ruling from Canada is sending shockwaves through Nigeria's political scene. A federal court there has reportedly classified our 2 biggest political parties, the All Progressive Congress (APC) and the People's Democratic Party (PDP), as terrorist organizations. This happened during an asylum case involving a Nigerian politician. The court refused the request, saying evidence linked both parties to repeated acts of political violence. We're talking about election intimidation, arson, shootings, and the use of armed thugs to silence opponents, all of which, under Canadian immigration law, fit the definition of terrorist activity. Analysts warn the fallout could be huge if other countries follow suit. It could damage Nigeria's diplomatic image, restrict politicians' travel, and deepen public distrust in the system. The Canadian court says its conclusion comes from years of documented election violence, from ballot snatching to political assassinations reported by both local and international observers. For now, it's just Canada's legal stance, but it puts Nigeria's political space under an international spotlight, and the world is watching. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
America's debt has hit $37 trillion, raising questions such as who they owe and how it compares to the rest of the world. Let's hear Joycelyn's analysis.
The United States has now officially crossed the staggering $37 trillion threshold in national debt, a historic first. But who's owed all this money and how did they get there? The US borrows by issuing treasury bonds, essentially IOUs, to 2 main groups. First, 2/3, or about $24 trillion, is held by private investors, Americans, mutual funds, banks, pension funds, and crucially, the Federal Reserve. The rest of the money, a solid chunk, around $7.3 trillion, is held by its own agencies like Social Security and Medicare trust funds. So what's pushed US debt so high? I will explain. A series of major shocks like post 9/11 military expenditures, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID-19 stimulus, expansive tax cuts, and rising healthcare costs. So, let's see how that compares globally. In pure numbers, no country tops the US, but as a portion of the economy, debt to GDP, the US sits at about 119% of GDP. That places it behind Japan, whose public debt is a massive 235% of GDP, and ahead of France around 92% and Germany at 45%. The real concern is rising interest payments, which now exceed national defense or Medicare spending and currently makes over 13% of federal outlays. That leaves less room for domestic priorities. So while America's borrowing keeps it afloat, the mounting bill and ballooning interest payments raise serious questions for future budgets. It's a debt galaxy, and the US is firmly at its center. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
And finally on sports, Sam takes us from stunning comebacks in Europe to delayed rewards for Nigeria's football queens and a special birthday for one of Africa's greatest. Here's your roundup of the biggest sports stories making headlines today.
Paris Saint-Germain pulled off a stunning comeback to win the Super Cup, edging Tottenham 4-3 on penalties after a 2-2 draw. Spurs, under new manager Thomas Frank, were cruising with a 2-0 lead heading into the final 10 minutes, but PSG roared back, scoring twice to force penalties and ultimately lifting the trophy. The victory marks Luis Enrique's second career achievement of winning 5 trophies in a single calendar year, a feat he first accomplished with Barcelona in 2015. In 2025, he has led PSG to glory in the Trophée des Champions, Ligue 1, Coupe de France, Champions League, and now the UEFA Super Cup. PSG's Ousmane Dembélé has also been electric this year, racking up 27 goals, 10 assists, 37 goals involvement in total across all competition. Super Falcons captain Rasheedat Ajibade says the team is here to receive the $100,000 reward and match bonuses promised by President Tinubu after the 2024 WAFCON triumph in Morocco. While the players were honored with national awards and promised 3-bedroom flats, Ajibade revealed that all the promises remain unpaid, with even match bonuses still a work in progress. The comments highlight growing frustration among the squad eager to be compensated for their historic victory. Today, Nigerian football legend JJ Okocha turns a year older. The midfield maestro played for 6 European clubs, earned 465 caps, scored 95 goals, and dazzled fans with his flair. He represented Nigeria for 14 years, winning the Nigerian Footballer of the Year award 7 times and setting a record transfer fee to PSG in 1998 for £14 million. Though he never won CAF Player of the Year, Okocha's legacy as one of Africa's greatest footballer remains untouchable. Happy birthday, football legend JJ Okocha. This is Samuel Akban for PS News.
And that wraps up our package for you today on PSN Newsrun. I am Oluwatosin Deba.
You just watched PSN Newsrun, streaming exclusively on YouTube. This is your trusted voice for news that matters. Subscribe, like, share, and stay informed.